keeps me up at night after this past year really has been uncertainty. It has been so challenging to figure out a plan and make plans and execute those plans with so much uncertainty, whether the uncertainty be what's going on with COVID or it's the uncertainty with the markets, and then even the uncertainty of the political front, and then what the next set of regulations look like for us. And
the problem is we have so many people who are removed from the farm who don't quite understand the things that we do, and that makes it extremely challenging.
And I'm afraid that lack of education will keep rolling as we go through the generation, and we end up being over-regulated to the point where we're not going to be able to produce that food and fiber ourselves.
Decisions are being made with too little understanding of the long-term implications of the decisions.
So we've seen about a 25% increase in the number of people who are coming through our pantry lines this year, and that's been sustained about since March. At the same time, you had this big disruption to the food supply chain, and so nowhere was the inextricable links between agriculture and food security more clear than at the beginning of the shutdown.
And making sure that we're prepared and we have the skills and the knowledge to be able to work through those invasive pests, have the controls, and be able to be profitable on the other side.
COVID had to be the biggest challenge of the year for us. We're in a business that requires a lot of labor, just do everything we could to keep that out. And we were very fortunate that we were able to, and it took a tremendous amount of planning and cooperation.
Climate change is going to impact agriculture. But I think the reality of not being able to get a crop planted and then not being able to get harvested is part of it. And I don't think we thought about that.
What 2020 has proved to us is that we do have a major lack of capacity to process our cattle. And we need more options on a regional basis.
There's a larger infrastructure that I think needs to be built out there. I think in some cases we may need more processing capacity, even more aggregators, but food banks can help play that role.
So that's a big concern. Are we going to be forced out just economics, just not being able to get the things that we need?
My biggest fear is that we won't take advantage of the opportunity and use trees to replace plastic and replace concrete and replace steel, and society won't get all the benefits of trees that they could while we try to build these new markets for carbon and water quality and air quality.
Having safe, clean water to drink and to produce food and to produce all the products that we do, having that the ability to have land or space to grow food.
And lack of labor, not getting our labor. A lot of it requires hand labor. So number one, we've got to have it here. And number two, it's got to be healthy.
So the other component that has also come to light for the last several years, but really in the last 9 to 12 months, has been the need for rural broadband.
We can do everything right. We can do everything that's possible, and we may still face regulations that add more challenges, weather that brings us more challenges. I'm not real sure about what's going on with our climate and our weather patterns, but I do know that it's different than it used to be.
Food security is a huge issue, and having the ability to have producers in Virginia producing food.
The agriculture industry and food security are intertwined, in my opinion. I think the health and strength of our local food system, our local ag economy, is beneficial for all our communities. It supports good paying jobs, and it helps increase access to nutritious foods for people who need it the most.
I definitely want to see our farm stay in ag. I want to ever somewhere down the line when we pass it along, I hope they have the passion for it that I do.
People love to be outside. They love to enjoy their outdoor spaces.
If it was just go plant your crop, take care of it through the season and harvest it, and it was always the same, I think this would be a mundane, somewhat boring job. But the fact that I have to go out and look at crops and deal with different challenges, every week is what keeps it interesting, trying to figure out these problems and solutions to them.
Now I'm competitive. I can keep up with the markets. We can do virtual functions. We can do our accounting work. And it has been absolutely a huge, huge relief to have that.
Folks are going to have to work together and take care of, especially agriculture, because we are the wheel that, keeps this nation rolling from a food standpoint.
And become familiar with how agriculture works. And not just how to grow a soybean or, what a baby calf looks like, but how it moves through, how that pork, how that beef moves through the system, how those vegetables get to the plate, and why tomatoes go through a certain process for a longer shelf life.
Family is the thing that comes to mind for me that has been very rewarding and helped me just in tough times, financially or whatever. When you paying bills at the end of the month, kind of keeps you going, because we got a really good family.
Even with that uncertainty and not necessarily knowing what the future is, there is a quote, and to paraphrase it, if there's not a greater sign of the belief a farmer has, is we plant a seed in the ground and hope that it rains, hope that the sun shines, and hopes that we have somewhere to sell the crop in the future.
Agriculture never stopped. Growers did not stop producing food. It never ended. This is the industry to be involved in. We're never not going to eat. And the more efficient we make it, the better it will be for everybody.